that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters' view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm doing well. I'll get into the story in a minute, but I didn't quite make the West Ham game, but we can cover that in a moment. Importantly, we are joined again. We're going to make this a regular thing, Magne, from our guest in Norway. So he's back for more. So welcome, Magne. Thanks for joining again, mate.
Thank you for having me. It's great being back.
Yeah,
thank you.
Awesome.
It felt right that it was a two-legged affair to match the match.
Yeah, indeed. We needed a two-legged affair to match what we've got coming up this week with our trip to Norway, where we're going to be taking the grand amount of, 400 fans, I think? That's our allocation, Graham, I believe, from the club.
It is. I think you're right. And the good news is, one of my friends, someone I went to school with, who I met outside the stadium before the Frankfurt game,
yeah,
she's going. She's got tickets. She's going to be there. And
I'm
going
Norway.
Yeah. So I'm going to speak to her before the match and try and record some audio, and we can include that.
Absolutely,
that's quite good fun.
Because that's a rare ticket, right? There's not many that got to go. So
they go home and away to everything. So they've got as many loyalty points as you can probably get.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Well, we have to cover it. The West Ham game. I said off there. Well, first off, my story. So it kicked off at 11 p.m. for me. And we kind of had this plan to get together with mates. And then it was like a few dropped out. And it ended up just being me and one other in the end, Chris. And I walked to the pub, which is probably about a 35-minute walk. I thought, I won't get an Uber, I'll walk. It's not raining. And went out a few beers. Wasn't drunk really by any stretch. But it'd been a long day. Been to a car show with the kids. Came in an hour and 10 minutes before kickoff. Had the TV on, and I'm like, yeah, I'll stay up, watch it. And then before I know it, it was 2:00 in the morning, and I passed out. So I didn't watch it. But I watched it the next morning, and I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it live because it was pretty dreadful.
To be able to whiz through the bad bits was probably a good thing because there were plenty of them.
Well, my big takeaway as the players came out, and this is including the West Ham fans, no one looked happy. It looked like a funeral procession. But yeah, did you watch it live then, Graham? And you also maybe nodded off, I understand.
I did. I think I nodded off in the second half. I think actually at half time I probably fell asleep, and then when I woke up, it was not that I missed anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was. I noticed something when we were watching it, and from social media, I wasn't the only one to notice it. But I think it's the way that the cameras are placed in the London stadium. It looks like a really small pitch, and it's just the way that I think the cameras are a lot lower in the stadium than they are, for instance, in our stadium, and it makes everything look a lot smaller. But then I looked, and the pitch measurements are the same as ours; they're exactly the same dimensions. But it was really weird that I thought maybe at first there was something wrong with me, but it wasn't. It just looks odd.
Keen to get your view, Magne, on your viewing experience and if you watched it live. But I thought the goal that we scored looked like a goal that we would maybe concede. It was just comical, like absolutely comical. But Magne, did you watch it live, mate? Or what was your experience? Did you go to the pub or?
I was actually attending my sister's birthday party, and she's a Bodo Glimt supporter. To add some mystery. I was going to watch it back later, but I heard it was so bad. I hadn't had time for it, so I just watched some highlights and read about it. And I totally agree with your analysis of the goal we scored. It was very much looking like a Tottenham defense.
Yes, indeed. Did you at least have a good time at the party with your sister?
Yeah, it was nice. It was sunny, and we did some barbecue, which it's not that common in early May here in Norway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. I thought something that I was impressed by in the game, I will say, I'd be keen to get both of your view. I thought Tell and Odegaard actually played quite well. Like it looked like they had a good understanding.
There's definitely an understanding there, and of course they play together for the France under-21s.
Yeah.
And they've had a really good run they've scored a lot of goals and got a lot of assists for the France under-21s as well. So there's something there to be built on for next season on the assumption that we keep Tell, I think.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's a shame as well for that fixture to have absolutely nothing riding on it, because you arguably over the years, we can put up with poor teams, we can put up with maybe bad players, but generally speaking, that fixture has always thrown up something in the way of jeopardy or passion or giving a shit. Neither team's cared.
Mostly, it's usually West Ham's cup final, right? They always seem to turn up for this match. Give us a game. But we've also had some really amazing games over the years, right? Like the one with the late Saltieri goal and Eric Dyer scoring on the first day of the season from fullback. So we've had some really good games. There've been some good games with them. But yeah, it was a real bore fest.
I'm quite surprised they didn't seem to care that much, the West Ham players, because like they're far down the table and got nothing to play for.
Yeah, this was bad.
Besides maybe getting above Tottenham in the table and winning the game, but they didn't seem to care about any of those things.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of talking points really, apart from the goals. And then, did you see when what's his name? Let's always do this. I'm terrible with players' names. The Brazilian gambler.
Paqueta.
Paqueta. Did you see he started crying when he got a yellow card?
Yeah, that was just
something.
weird.
I think that guy needs some help. There's something not right there.
He seems to always play dirty against us as well. So what's new? What's this foreign start crying this time?
I know.
Does it mean he's like going to miss the end of the season or something? Because that doesn't really matter to him. They're safe. Like, what is his accumulation of yellow cards resulted in something? Or
I don't know. Maybe he had a bet on him getting the card earlier or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And taking nothing away from it, even though it pains me, Jarrod Bowen's goal was really well taken.
Yeah,
I thought. Good finish.
He's a really good player.
I like Bowen as a player. Funny story, when I went to Perth when Tottenham played West Ham in a pre-season game, and it was Ange's first pre-season, he was really approachable. So afterwards, we were all in the casino in Perth, and he was just like wandering through the casino, like not drinking, obviously he's on pre-season, but he was like playing cards and mixing with the fans, and I didn't get a picture of him or anything, so I didn't care that much, but we had a brief conversation, and he was quite a nice bloke, actually. But yeah, good, well-taken goal. I really don't know if I have much else to add on quite a meaningless game. The only thing I'll say is, we didn't lose. We seem to have stopped the rot.
Well, I think that's the only thing we could say is that both of our predictions were of a loss. So we actually did better than we thought we would. Mostly I thought we would lose because we played on Thursday and I knew we would rotate heavily. And West Ham didn't play last week during the week, so they had a whole week of rest and they could play their strongest team. But even that wasn't good enough to get a win against us, which was interesting.
The other positive, I'll say, Mikey Moore got some minutes, and he was
I'm pleased to see him back. Yeah.
It's nice to see him not being totally out in the cold.
He didn't even make the squad for a couple of months, did he? I wasn't sure what had happened. I mean,
it's all shaping up, guys, for Mikey Moore to come on in the final in Bilbao and score and win us the Europa League, like a local lad does it.
I think it's quite interesting as well now, because we know we're definitely not going to have Maddison.
Yep.
And Bergvall as well. I don't think we look. I really like Kulusevski, and I actually thought he had a better game against West Ham. At the last couple of games he'd not looked great. He looked like he wasn't fully up to speed, but he looked better against West Ham. But I still think having a more creative player in the 10 role would be more beneficial than playing him on the right.
Yeah.
But then we don't have that many. It would be someone like Mikey Moore maybe that could play as a 10. As an option, but we'll see. When we come on to the Bodo Glimt second leg in a minute, I can't really predict what the lineup's going to be. I think there are plenty of options.
Plenty of options, sure.
Yeah. But it does look like Madison and Bergwijn are definitely out for the rest of the season. Like it feels like
some might be getting back though.
Yeah, he's apparently in contention for. He might start on the bench maybe on Thursday, but Madison looks like it's an ACL. Bergwijn's been walking around the stadium in a boot, so I'm assuming that's apparently was not during a match or training. I don't know how he did it.
I thought it was in a training, but it's what a non-contact injury. Taking a sharp turn and then something snapped.
Yeah, not good.
Maybe gone over on it or done something wrong with it. Magne, I'm keen to get your view. Actually, I've been wanting to ask you this. I should have probably asked it last episode, but I'll do it now. What's the general feeling amongst your Norwegian Spurs supporters to this season in general? Meaning, is there a general acceptance that if we were to go on and win the Europa League, that's deemed as a success? Or is there general hate towards how this has played out? I mean, it's a terrible, terrible season in the league, right?
Yeah.
The worst ever finished. Like, is it a split amongst your supporters group? Or like, what's the general feeling?
I believe most Norwegian supporters are really, really angry and disappointed about the season. Obviously, we have some rough times during this winter where even like guys I find usually real sensible and like to talk to again with Tottenham regarding questions. Even in those discussions get heated because it's so bad. So, a lot of people I talk to most about Tottenham, they wanted Ange sacked way around Christmas or even before that. And
wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of disappointment. I guess winning Europa League will make it a good season anyway. But in the recent days, we've been talking a little bit about all this longing for a trophy through a lot of years. Well, would it probably be better doing a couple of Pochettino seasons over again, finishing second, third, having a great time almost every weekend, compared to this year being miserable throughout the whole season and maybe getting a trophy at the end? So what is best? It's hard. It's difficult.
And it's a strange thing to try and have a metric on because, of course, a lot of the fans, we don't know what it feels like to win a trophy because it's been so bloody long. So it's like
there's probably two generations who have
have
not really been.
And I think for me, it's almost going a bit overlooked that we are on the cusp of winning something major. So this is a big deal, and it's probably going overlooked because of how bad the league season is. But I think once we beat Frankfurt, I didn't see us picking up many more points in the league because I just knew that would become the priority.
And I'm fine with that. It doesn't matter too much because I know what matters to the team now and what should matter to the team is the Europa League matches. I think in some ways this season feels better at the moment than the last season with Conte and Salini and all those troubles, because now at least there's something to play for. Even if a lot of matches we don't care, but those matches we care about, you can see the players are really up to it. And at the end of the last contest season, it seemed like no one was up for it. So that was really draining.
So, Graham, do you have much of a view on that, mate, in terms of if we were to win it, and you like me, where I have the view, if we win the Europa League, I think I'll forget very quickly where we finish in the Premier League.
Probably, yeah, I think you're right. But I think as well, the way this season panned out, I think that he was saved by our progress in the League Cup.
Yeah.
The fact that we were still in the FA Cup and we were in the Europa League in January. So we were in all three competitions still in January, which meant that it was, even if the league form was absolutely garbage, which it was, there was enough to play for that you wouldn't make a change. And by the time January's passed, it's kind of pointless making a change, I think. And then, unfortunately, we went out of both the domestic cups.
Bang. Yeah.
And then, but then again, it was February by then, was it? So you start looking at how many matches are left, and then you think, well, we might as well hang on for the Europa. I think he would have gone much sooner had we been out if we'd been out of the League Cup by Christmas. I think he might have gone.
Yeah, maybe a change.
So,
I guess you never know what maybe would have played out then. Would we have gone as far in Europa? I don't know. Yeah, but we are where we are. It is what it is, as they say. But I have another question for Magne from a Norwegian perspective. I've just looked at Bodo's fixtures, and this is actually another piece of information and I'll get to that in a minute on the Villa game that we've asked to reschedule. But this leads me to that point. Bodo wouldn't have played a game when they play us. They didn't play a league game. So the last game they played was against us.
Yeah.
Is that because the Norwegian FA pulled the fixture to give them as much prep time? Is there a general feeling of we want to have them succeed?
Yeah, they have been doing that for a long time. So they've got a lot of matches moved. Actually, the match they were supposed to play this last weekend was scheduled for the 1st of May, so the day of the Tottenham match. So it couldn't obviously go through, but they could push it forward to Sunday, but they chose to put it forward to July instead. So I think they are maybe they have played 3 games less than a lot of other teams in the Norwegian league at the moment because they've got a lot of matches pushed forward into July.
Sure.
So
what a concept when you've got a football association and a league that actually wants you to succeed in Europe, where we have a bit of the opposite at times in the Premier League and the FA. So with that said,
there was actually a bit of anger amongst the Norwegian supporters of other teams that they feel like Bodo Glimt are getting a special treatment because it's obviously annoying for those other teams to get the matches moved all the time. They're planning to fly across Norway for 3 hours to get to the game, and then they get cancelled or moved 2 weeks before. So there's a lot of frustration among other Norwegian supporters that Bodo Glimt gets the help from the association.
We have the same, well, not the same issue, but we do not get special treatment. And thinking about the final, that Villa are refusing to move our match, meaning that we have not much time to prepare between matches in the lead up.
They are refusing. And then the other thing that makes it, it seems to be that the FA are making it more difficult than maybe it needs to be. But there are no other league games being played on that Saturday owing to the fact that it's the FA Cup final. I don't know where I sit on that. My view is just make the FA Cup final the last domestic game of the season like it always was, and therefore you wouldn't have this issue. But of course they play the Champions League on a Saturday night, so that then impacts if the Champions League team is in the FA Cup final, they don't want that to clash. So Villa, last I saw, they've refused because it's their last home game, so they don't want to play it on a Thursday or a Friday night. They want it on a weekend. So it's a bit of a mess, but whether it's played Saturday or Sunday, I think it played the kids anyway.
I think it was more, there wasn't talk about it being moved to the Friday just before we started recording this. So maybe Villa didn't get their will anyway. But
there's already a match on the Friday, right?
Chelsea, Man United on the Friday night. Yeah.
I think they will play both matches on Friday if we go through.
Which would be great. It gives us a bit more prep time at least.
Yeah, well, and then it'd be interesting to see if we do have that lead time, would he mix it up a bit and play a few to get some minutes in them before the final? I don't know. Let's hope it's a problem that we have to worry about because we'll be in the final.
We're getting very ahead of ourselves, aren't we?
We are. We've got a game to preview, which is, I don't know, like, you could accuse me of being elitist and arrogant. I'm not worried. I think we'll score. I don't see them beating us 3-0. And that's what they need to do to go through, right? So, because even at 3-1, that takes it to extra time. If we lose 2-1, we go through. If we lose 3-2, we go through. I think we'll have too much for them. And I think even if they score, we score. Now, Graham, you made a point last episode. It may all put the shitters up us if they score early. Then it becomes a bit of a game very quickly.
But actually, I don't know yet which players will be back. And I know probably obviously the suspensions will be back from the last match, but I'm not sure about the injuries, whether any of those will be returning. So we should expect probably a stronger lineup from Bodo. I don't know how many more players, but I didn't think attacking-wise they showed that much in the first match. So maybe that we'll see an improvement. And then the home advantage, of course, as well, and the artificial pitch, all of the kind of things that make it what they're used to and what we're not used to. But as you said, I think we'll have enough to score a goal. So then it's just about making sure we don't do any normal Spurs defending.
I think that Bentancur and Bissouma They probably earned the right to start that game because I thought they both played quite well in the first leg.
Yeah.
And Basuma was everywhere and did what he needs to. That's what we used to see him doing for Brighton a lot. But Magna, like, how do you see it, mate? Are you concerned in any way? By the way, well done on the score. You got it spot on.
prediction.
Should have had a bet. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Well, I'm a bit divided. I'm mostly feeling worried because it will be such a disaster to lose the game, to lose the tie. And at the same time, I'm a bit confident because of the way we played. A bit like Ange said in the interview after the game, the way we dominated the match makes us confident with that there should be enough to go through in the second leg as well, because there was obviously a difference between the quality of the teams. So that quality should be able to play a part in the second game as well, even if it's an away game. So, but I'm terrified as well.
Yeah, I really want us to score an early goal, much like we did in the first leg.
Yeah,
just to settle all the nerves.
Yeah.
I can see it, like, I can see it taking the shape of a bit of a basketball game. I really can. Like, I can see a crazy score, like 4-2 or something. I can see us keep doing enough and then pulling one back and then us having to do another one just to be sure. I can see it being that type of a game.
That would be not good for my nerves.
But I think we've got better players. I think we're a better team. I think we know what's on the line. I don't know. Like, I hope I'm right, but I can see us winning it. And I think it will be something like that, like 4-1 or 4-2 or something. But interestingly, Ange was asked about, have you been preparing on the plastic pitch that we have at the training ground? And he said, no. He said, no, we'll be training on their pitch because there's no... He goes, but it's not like every surface is the same just because it's synthetic. So he said, we will be training on their pitch from Wednesday and then we'll get a feel for it. So, but would they be... And this is just probably a dumb, ignorant question, but is it the same boots they wear then on that? Or is it, do they have to change footwear or do they just decide when they get there? Like, it's like grass, isn't it? Or is it wildly different?
Yeah.
They'll most likely change boots.
Yeah, okay.
Might have like rubber studs or something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Just depends.
The bounce of the ball isn't quite as the same, is it, with grass? It's
no.
different.
It's different. So, I think that's a weird comment by Ange. If you got the option to train on artificial pitch, I think you should do it. And actually, there was a Norwegian newspaper making a story before the first game. They were visiting the Tottenham training center, and they were so disappointed to find out that the Spurs have artificial pitches to train at. And so why don't you use them? I think you choose to believe that Ange is not telling the truth.
I don't know.
I think Kulusevski also said in an interview that they should or will use training pitches. So, yeah.
So,
I think you're probably right.
Going back to my question in the episode we did before the first leg, Magna, what's Kulusevski thought of by the Norwegians? Like, does he not really like? Will he get a hostile atmosphere, being that he's a Swede?
He's loved by the Norwegian Tottenham supporters, obviously. Probably maybe a little bit more hostile than the other ones, but the Bodo Glimt supporters are that hostile anyway. They're like more passionate about their own team and not too much with the opponents.
I have to say, I thought they were a bit subdued at the stadium for the home match. They weren't the most vocal, or I saw them all. They were noisier walking down the street on the way to the stadium than they were in the stadium. I thought, but a couple of things.
Go, Brad. Yeah, go.
So, Magda, there's a photo that I shared with Glenn. I don't know if I shared it with you. There's this Bodo Glimt supporter on the train in London, in his yellow shirt with shorts, and he's got a massive Tottenham tattoo on his leg.
I've seen it.
I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of supporters like that, torn between two teams, because obviously there are 50,000 people living in Bodo and even more supporting the team around in the areas around the city. So there are obviously some Spurs supporters among them. Maybe it's got a Bodo tattoo on the other leg. I don't know.
At least it was a win-win for him on the night.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I saw off the back of the first match was a press conference. I think one of the Bodo players was talking about how bad our press was. Yeah. And it was no better than a Norwegian first division team, and that they'll be fine. Which was, for me, that's just the team talk for Ange, right? He all he has to do is just put that up on the wall.
Yeah. Also, go and prove them wrong. But yeah, it's an interesting one because I'm really curious. Again, by the way, 5 a.m. kickoff for me again. I will be getting up to watch it. I was kind of hoping that we would win the first leg 5 or 6-0 so I could just sleep in and watch it on delay when I got up, but not the case. There's a little bit of jeopardy there that I feel I need to watch it live. But it's going to be a really curious atmosphere to see such a small stadium and only 400 Spurs supporters in a major semi-final. Like, I'm really intrigued to see it all play out. It's really quite exciting. But I think we'll get the job done. I really do. I think we'll win, and I think we're on our way to a final. But Magne, you're concerned. I know you don't want embarrassment in Norway. We can't have that. But what do you think of the scoreline, mate? Do you want to you got it bang on in the first leg? So do you have a prediction for us?
I think it will be 2-2.
There you go.
Not the comfortable kind, so where we have a 2-0 lead and then cruise through the game, but probably there will be 2-1 up and then throw everyone forward and we will counter-attack in the 2-2 goal. So, and there will be 2-2, I say.
And there'll be 2-2. And will you be watching it at home or in the pub, or what's your plan?
I watched the first game at home because I was getting home so late I couldn't get to the pub in time, but it was not the best experience because when we got the goal after 40 seconds, the commentators on TV went, "Oh no, that's the start we didn't want." And then they were celebrating like madness when Bodo Glimt got their goal. So I can't do that once again. So I need to get to the pub with my friends to not share the Norwegian commentators. So I will go to the main pub in Oslo, probably be there 3 hours before the game just to get.
Oh wow,
it was packed that time, so I need to.
Amazing.
This time.
Yeah, Graham, you've got a potential opportunity, haven't you, to maybe go to the stadium?
I've been invited to the stadium to watch the match because I started one of the official supporters clubs for North Hampshire. So that's a possibility on Thursday. I'm still waiting for confirmation on that, but it would be just all of the chairman and guests to watch the match there. So that would be quite interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to that. But
are they going to do? Because my dad and my brother went to the stadium for the Champions League final where they put the screens in the middle.
Yeah.
Are they going to do that then, are they?
No, this will be in one of the lounge areas on the third tier, somewhere in the...
Oh, cool.
Like one of the VIP areas, I think. So they'll have a big screen up and
it'd
be quite cool.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Graham, prediction from you, mate? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Do you think we're going to balls it up?
I think a 2-1. I think that we will score. I'm not saying what order we'll score all those goals in. I've got this horrible feeling that we'll be 2-0 down and looking at extra time, and then we'll get a late goal.
Well, that takes me back to the Ajax semi-final when we were basically out at half-time and they were all singing "Don't Worry, Be Happy" in the stadium. And then we came out and we know what happened. So I don't know if we've ever covered this on the pod, but I just remember FaceTiming you and I was basically just in my underwear with a T-shirt on because it was like a 5 a.m. kickoff. And then I was dancing around the place and you were like, too much information.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. I was in a hotel in Amsterdam for work and watched it there.
Wow.
With basically the staff from the hotel who were all Ajax fans and one Arsenal supporter. So it wasn't the greatest. I had a great time, but they did not.
Yeah, indeed. Well, and on that, let's hope that we can succeed in Europe and Arsenal do not. Because then there's going to be that little argument we can have that if we win Europa and they win nothing, have we had a better season?
I'm hoping to get my friend Helen, who will be in Bodo for the match, try and get her on before the match.
Great.
And we can use it when we do the review after the match, and I'll get, because her and her husband are going. They'll probably be good to know how it all went with the 400.
I'd be keen to hear everything, like the build-up, the walk to the stadium, food, the weather, what's it like, small stadium. Yeah, I'd be keen to hear that for sure.
And also, I think you said it earlier, Magda, that your sister's a Bodo fan, right?
Yeah, that's right. My family's from the north, so
so there's a little bit of tension in the house.
Yeah, I was visiting her actually before a couple of days before the match as well, and there was this Bodo Glimt scarf hanging on the door, and me and my son were walking around in our Spurs gear, so yeah, all firing up.
Great stuff.
It reminds me of, there's a guy in Amsterdam who I met a few times when I was I was working there and I used to go and watch matches with the Amsterdam Spurs supporters. It's John, we had him on. His wife is Dutch and she's a massive Ajax fan, like F-side, ultras, massive. And they interviewed them for BBC TV before the match. And it's quite strange that when you have that kind of tension in a household. But when all the Spurs supporters clubs were organising stuff in Amsterdam, she was kind of the go-between with the ultras to make sure there wasn't any trouble.
Oh, brilliant.
But, yeah, quite a split family. That was quite funny.
Oh, good stuff. Well, I didn't have a lot else other than to say to everyone listening, to every Spurs fan out there, try and enjoy it. I'm going to try and enjoy it. It's a major semi-final second leg. If we win it, we're in a final. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again today, Magne. Much appreciated. Let's hope we get the outcome that we want on Thursday. And just as Glenn said, I just want to thank everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And to close it out finally, come on you Spurs.
You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one